here we go.
And let's see who we are being joined by. It is a Kittia.
And a pink tail start. It's definitely an interesting item if we happen to come across that hook pretty early.
I'm sure our runners are pretty happy to see that pink tail, as I think they've probably gotten used to no adamants at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially after the last tournament, there's the lack of adamants has been kind of almost a little bit saddening to me.
And as we saw very quickly, our goal is to defeat all of the fiends. So that is 2 doses of lead.
So we got a little bit of route divergent from the beginning. Smapty's going right to the watery passage, finding another cane. Um, and we've got all the other runners on screen. Kind of looting Baron seems to be the general starting play for most people. Uh, as you can see, one of the chests was already opened. 70% of the chests are going to be already opened in this, meaning that the item pool is going to be pretty limited.
And we saw a Palom there in the Baron Inn. Very nice to see our Quake.
Always good seeing a Palom pretty early, especially if it's easily attainable. Mom Bomb being in that spot's not too bad. Looks like we got some exits and illusions in Kaipo. Some pretty solid items would be nice to pick up early on. See Twisted heading to Mysidia to pick up some characters, which is another Rydia and another Rydia. And another Rydia and Kaipo. Heard y'all like Rydia.
Definitely a party you could set up with some reflect strats, especially for those the 4 elements.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And most of the runners look like they're following a fairly similar route, just getting some overworld loot checks done.
Yeah, I figure loot's pretty important for this one, so we can get those boss checks out of the way and get some good gear. Looks like we had Odin chilling at the behind the waterfall, so that's not an important spot. Really kind of tough to get through right now as well, especially with the current party.
And Commander Leonhardt getting the good news that he Smaped just picked up his Palom from the Damsian proper.
Palom's quite a good pickup this early on. He learns his spells relatively quick compared to Rydia. And the HP pool is just a hair bit more than Rydia's.
Very true. Learning that Quake at level 23 is absolutely wonderful.
It's like another Palom at the top of Hobbs on Dathis' screen, guarded by CPU. this might be a pretty interesting fight, seeing as how we really don't quite have a healer. But looks like Dathus is going to go for it. And the summon is Jin, otherwise known as Ifrit. So that's not too bad of a summon up there on the Hobbs.
Not going to be a whole lot of help in our Fiends percent, but there are a few bosses that could be nice.
Oh, absolutely. Got that awesome Chocobo summon going on Dathus' screen. Smapty's going to head and pick up his 2 Rydias.
And with Dathus having those 2 Palums, it does open up the early game twin strat.
Absolutely, and it's great having 2 Palums as well, since the what is it, wisdom, or is it willpower? I can never remember which is which. But
I think wisdom is the black magic stat.
But having the higher wisdom from Palom is much better, as twin will always pull from that. So that's always good to have on 2 Paloms. So we got some. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it looks like we got some Cure 3s on Smapty's side. Not too bad of an item in Mysidia. Always good to pick up a few of them in case you run into, like, say, D-Lunars or Mylon Z in a pretty early spot. It's always good to just get that 1 toss kill.
And it is only 5 characters that are going to show up, so we are not guaranteed a white mate.
Looks like we got our first dive into Outline Cave on Twisted Flax's side. Check these chests, head down, check out the boss. I got a nice Lilith Rod there. That will help boost Rydia's black magic damage. Hopefully get some more out. Got a nice poison axe on the backside of Hobbs there.
And a strength ring, which would be great for that Kmain.
Just gonna get Kmain all stacked up. Looks like we have Mylon and Outlion, so it's a good spot there. Be a pretty quick and easy fight. The whole spot itself has 1000 HP, so I'm gonna guess, being split between the ghasts here, that Mylon has probably like roughly 900 or so. Sometimes Blaze. Sometimes Antlion is overrated. Nobody needs to do Antlion.
And Commander Leonhardt making great use of that big bomb, taking out all of the fiends at once, and just leaving Mylon.
Absolutely. These item breaks can be very, very useful, especially if you happen to hit up one of their weaknesses. Looks like Commander Leonhardt is the first one through. We'll see what item we get dropped here, and yeah, we'll be on our way out.
And we start getting a few of the early elemental spells on Palom.
A nice adamant drop. It won't be too useful in this flag set unless we happen to run across the Cecil early and find an early legend sword. But another key item is always pretty nice to have. The closer we get to that 10, the quicker we can hopefully get through some of the bosses here.
And we see another rod here in the cave, a change rod for another one of your black magic users.
I almost prefer the Lilith Rod over the Change Rod usually, just due to the fact that you can use the Lilith Rod as an item to get a little bit more MP. But the Change Rod is always nice in case, you know, you randomly get piggied by one of the Baron Knights or something.
Or if you just want to get rods on all your Palums and Rydias, which it seems like we have quite a lot of.
It's like Twisted Flax gets through. We'll be getting their adamant as well. Smapety not using that big bomb like everybody else did, so going to be a little bit slower to get through Mylon. Actually, I don't think Smapety went to Baron. I believe that big bomb was there.
And looks like Commander Leonhardt might be going for that second Palom, as he is taking a nap in the Baronet.
I'm always excited to see who the second Baronin boss is. It's just the fact that it's a mystery is always very intriguing to me. Like, okay, well, if you go in here at a low level, the boss could either be, you know, a water hag and be, you know, a nice easy breeze, or it could be a very hard boss. Speaking of water hag.
Yep, there he is.
Some decent experience in the spot, especially for a free fight. May as well take it, get a little bit more levels on Rydia and Palom, try and get some more damage output overall. Oh, looks like we have Ruby over on Twisted side at Fabul. So there is another one of the bosses that we will be needing to get out of the way.
And definitely going to make use of that Ice 2 spell learned from Antlion.
Yeah, this fight should go over relatively quick. Hopefully Palom gets that off before he closes his cape. Just like that, Ruby's down. That is that's two of the objectives out of the way already. That's it's pretty quick. We're 1/3 of the way done.
We'll see who or what our key item is here at Fabul.
Ooh, another strength ring. It'd be good for a little bit more damage.
And for those just joining us, again, it is only that you need to find all of the fiends. You do not need to beat Zeromus, so really no reflex strats you need to worry about.
I like the throne rune check on Twisted side. Ended up with a samurai shield, probably about the only decent thing there. Samurai shield's pretty decent overall though.
Yeah, more defense for your cane. And we see poison axes for sale. Oh boy.
Diamond rings as well. Those diamond rings or armlets or whatever you wish to call them are pretty good. They reduce, I believe they reduce lightning damage. I may be wrong on that one though. It has been a while since I've played this game.
It sounded good to me. I was going to go with it.
Those exits coming in handy over on Smapety's side. Exit is probably one of the best things that you can have just for general movement. Being able to get out of places quickly allows you to check deeper in certain dungeons that you may not be able to normally. Looks like we see Dathus making their way, checking the shops in Fabul before heading up to talk to the king. See Soma drops, silk webs, and mute bells. That's a really dang good shop.
Now those Soma drops won't be too useful in this flag set as the MP underflow glitch is enabled.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point. Still kind of nice to have as kind of like a backup in case you say forget to underflow, like I'm sure many of us have done before.
And we do see elven bows in Silvera. That is a very nice pickup.
Ooh, and there's our healing right there with Nashura. Ooh, in case we don't run into a white mage anywhere, that is.
Just a 2/3 chance of healing the party. That's always fun.
I mean, 66% is pretty good to me.
And
right.
Smapedy heading towards Mount Ordeals. That is another key item check.
And will be a character as well heading up. A lot of people tend to forget about the Ordeals character, myself included. I always forget about that one when the end character is off, and then I walk up and I'm like, oh, hey, a character.
We'll see if it's somebody new or if it is one of the three we've already seen.
Some pretty decent gear so far as well. A karate robe and a Gaia helm. Yet another Kmain. Looks like we're gonna have a possible full house.
Then you have to start deciding which has got the best palette.
Exactly. Palettes are very important in this game. I don't know if y'all know this or not. Really interested to see which bosses are up here, especially since we ran into 2 out of the 6 objectives already.
It looks like our first boss is going to be some creepy doll.
It's actually not too bad, especially since we picked up a big bomb on the way up. It'll be nice, quick, and easy. Punch right through these. I believe the spot only has like 3,100 HP, so split 6 ways. It's about 500 each, no problem. It's going to be split more favorable towards the blue dolls than the red dolls. The red dolls are, I believe, have about 3/4 of what the blue have. Hey, and we have Gauntlet. Everybody's favorite.
And such a rude spot for it, too.
Agreed.
Not hard, just time-consuming with that back attack.
Absolutely.
And it looks like Twisted Flax is following in Smapedy's footsteps and fighting his dolls now.
Leonhardt just getting through Fabul. We'll see if anybody decides to make the Baron play before they make the Ordeals play. I'd be interested to see that. I would assume that everybody's going to do Ordeals just due to the easier possibility and the little bit more experience that you can get up there versus the boss, since you really don't get much in Baron. And right now we're not really looking at a ton of damage output from any of these characters. Kane being relatively low leveled with an ice brand or a poison axe as the strongest weapon is a little bit rough.
And Twisted Flax had a little bit of trouble there. Did combine into the big dolls, but wants to give it another shot.
Yeah, the timing on this doll fight can actually be really tight depending on where their ATB is at, where they last performed their attack, and the timing can just throw you off every single time, and but the big bomb will absolutely take care of them all, no problem.
ETB shenanigans or witchcraft. I can't change my mind.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you on that one. And we see that Jin summoning being used on Smapty's side to get that fire weakness against the zombies here. It's a pretty good play. I don't even remember how much MP Jin costs, but Rydia should be able to summon at least a few times.
And Twisted Flax has gotten the bad news on what awaits him here on Mount Ordeals, while Dathus is checking the treasury in Troya. Did not seem to find anything very nice, though.
Yeah, I didn't see too much besides that last Poison Claw. Other than that, it really was kind of just a bust there, looking for something to help damage output-wise. I believe Smapty is on the last fight here, so we should be seeing the crystal chamber here soon. Pretty interested to see what's going to be up here. I would definitely go save after this, just in case we get a nasty encounter in there.
Yeah, it's always a chance of spicy hugs from Wyvern.
Granted, whichburn is on, but whichburn could be pretty brutal depending on which attack we get.
Just a casual Big Bang in the crystal room. It'll be fine.
You know, I've actually never seen Big Bang on Wyvern. Pretty sad I've never seen it. I've seen some pretty other funny stuff, but never Big Bang. And it looks like we got Virus learned on a Palom over on Smapty's side. That's pretty big right there. Looks like Dathus is taking on Mom Bomb at Baron Inn, which is a play I like to see. I like to see divergence. I like to see a split here and there, so we get to kind of see a whole bunch of different things happening at once. So I kind of like this play.
And we'll see if that gauntlet paid off for Smapty.
Ooh, that was a rough explosion from Mom Bomb there.
And we see an evil wall guarding the crystal room. One place you definitely do like to see evil wall.
And it looks like we got a Baigen in the second slot, which is pretty rough in the spot. We do get the life from Ashura, but it's going to be a tough spot, especially not having really any major way to deal with Baigen. Did you happen to catch what item we got from the crystal spot?
It was the hook.
Ooh, go get that adamant armor. Take quick work of this Baigen spot here.
Now this is a very interesting party if you do have to take the hook route, depending on what is guarding it.
Much agreed. Much agreed. I would almost call for a fair amount of grinding just to get some decent power from this crew. But the hook is pretty big right now, especially having that pink tail. You almost expect to go get that adamant armor just so you can start knocking everything out of the way. And that's what it looks like Smapty's going to be doing here.
And Dathus giving Mom Bomb another shot. See if he can get a little more favorable rolls on his explode.
Yeah, definitely worth a shot. As long as you can get your party up, if you can keep all 5 people up and have at least one Rydia alive to keep going through Baigen, you should be able to get through, but it may be just a tad slow on this end, depending on what rolls you get on what spells you cast or whatever. Whew. Looks like some pretty high rolls there.
Yeah, and it looks like he is going to take a reset since his Rydia did go down.
It's like Flax is getting their hook. About to progress through here, and probably going to make the same play Smapty's doing. Go get that adamant armor and kind of just hopefully punch through the rest of this early game pretty easily. But we'll see what bosses end up being where, because this could be a pretty rough seed.
Worst case scenario would probably be Ogopogo at either one of those spots.
Yeah, Ogo would definitely be pretty rough, especially with this current setup. Knain probably not too bad. All of our spellcasters know Lit 1. And being we have possibly 3 to 4 of them on a team, we should be able to pretty much neuter that wave. But Ogo would be pretty rude. Agreed.
It does look like Smapty is going to take on the Baron Inn before heading down. Maybe just a little nervous about having to go that hook route.
Especially with this current party setup, having to go hook route would be pretty rough, to be honest. It looks like that adamant is already paying off. We see Kmain throwing up almost 800 damage. This would be a quick and easy spot to get through. That jump, pretty good as long as it was timed properly, but we shouldn't see too much damage. They should survive most of them, yeah.
And Baby Rydia does go down, but that Kmain only taking 1 damage.
We see Dathus here with the dolls, casting Jin. Jin should make probably decent work of the front dolls, with the back probably still staying alive. We'll see how the damage rolls play out. Yeah, I think this should be at least close enough to where he may be able to punch through them all. Yeah. It's a good call there on Jin. Just maybe save that big bomb if you have it, or if you don't have one. Just going right towards the gauntlet here. Pretty spicy, I like it.
Well, and Dathus does have that knowledge of what's waiting in Baron Inn, so he may want to hold on to that AoE damage for a rainy day.
It's a good point.
And Twisted Flax, taking on the big bombs on his side, does manage to keep all his Baby Rydias alive.
We see that adamant armor coming in handy over on Smapty's side. That Kmain just taking 1 damage from every single thing being thrown at him. And I don't foresee this fight being too much of an issue. Adamant armor is just a huge thing to get, especially really, really early in the game. It's just so powerful.
And GG to Smapty, he has gotten through there and only gets a Sand Ruby.
Pretty excited to see this hook route now. I'm interested to see what bosses we're going to run into.
And do you remember who was in the bed at Kaipo?
I believe it was another Rydia. If I remember right, it was another Rydia. So, more Rydia, more power, you know.
It looks like Smapty is not interested in adding another Rydia to his team, and instead just has 3 Palams and 2 Kmain.
Flax is going to go check out the hook, see possibly who is there. Maybe check out the boss, take a dive. Maybe head back to Baron just to take a peek, but make that quick safety save outside so we can toss a reset just in case. Commander Leonhardt making it through the fight at the top of Ordeals. Going to be headed back down. More than likely going to go turn in that pink tail for adamant armor, which would probably be the good choice here, but we'll see what the play is. We get the awesome end of battle text from Ruby on Smapty side. It only happens after a certain HP threshold, which is always exciting to see.
And Smapty's about to get the bad news that that hook is his only way underground.
Indeed. But we do see a full house on Smapty's side. We got 3 Palms, 2 Canes. Pretty intrigued to see who's in this hook spot here. See if we get maybe a new character or like another Cane or another Palom. Maybe even another Rydia. Who knows?
I personally love all Rydias, but not for racing.
Situation dependent. She can be good in races sometimes, depending on the flags and things like that. Yeah, the low HP value does make Rydia kind of almost throwaway worthy early on if you don't have any like good weapons. Like there is a Dragon Whip available for Rydia. It could be useful in some situations. It's like Smapty's headed down to check out our hook situation here. Looks like we got Coffin's Elixirs in our Cave Eblon shop. Not too bad. Coffins are always nice to have hanging around.
And we haven't seen too many of our free bosses that we can make use of those coffins with. So if they're hiding down here, Twisted Flax will definitely get rewarded for those buying those coffins.
Oh, absolutely agreed. Coffins, even just having one on hand carrying throughout you the whole game, just in case, is always a good thing. It's like Dathis is going to be getting his hook as well.
And looks like Twisted Flax did find the Staleman fight.
Unfortunately, those coffins do not work on Stalemen. I learned that the hard way a while ago.
Today I learned.
As you see, Flax is learning as well. Yeah, it's I believe any of the like stone men, any like the golem type things, they don't work on. I could be wrong on, but I believe most of them, the coffins don't work on. And it's unfortunate because Flax does have to go back and shop again to get those coffins back. Good thing they did save outside of the cave, so they don't have to go back and do whatever else they ran into.
And does have the knowledge of where that trap chest is, may just go ahead and skip it.
Indeed. They are weak to ice, so the ice brand on Kane and ice 2 on Paloms. I mean, it all just depends on the situation, but it should be a relatively quote-unquote easy fight. It just depends on the targets that we get here.
And looks like he didn't find anything all that interesting, so go ahead and skip these chests and finds himself a Rosa.
We got a white mage. We don't need Rydia anymore.
And we have the superior white mage as well.
Indeed. Rosa is just leagues above Porum in personal opinion, but just due to the fact that her HP pool is just significantly higher than Porum's, makes her the pick over Porum most days.
And Twisted Flax dropping one of his Rydias for that Rosa. I cannot blame him for that decision.
Looks like Leonhardt is hitting up Beigen here. Shouldn't be too bad as long as Beigen's not too rude in the situation. Looks like we get an Ashura cast, and looks like we get a nice heal too. Very good.
And we'll see. It looks like Twisted Flax not looking to open any of those chests. I did not see who the boss was. Did you?
I happened to miss it as well. I saw Rosa, and then I started checking out other things, and I missed it. But I'm sure we'll see it just here in a second on Smapty's stream. Wizard Cap is going to be very nice for Rosa. It will up her willpower, make her a little bit better of a healer. Would be Octo. So that's not too bad having Rosa. At least we'll have Blink. At least I believe so. I don't remember if Rosa knows Blink right off the bat or not.
Well, and Smapty's got several small Quake children that can cast some thunder spells as well.
And if I remember right, there was illusions in Kaipo. There was a shop with illusions, so that could be useful. Ruby's not too hard of a physical hitter, but the fact that it's Octo could be a little bit rude, especially starting off the fight. Looks like we have elements in the King Queen Eblon spot. That's pretty rude. Gonna be going through it pretty much solo with Palom in the middle there. So that's yet another objective out of the way for Flax. Halfway there. Pretty quick. Looking pretty good. I would be surprised if we did not see a return to the save point here on Flax's end. It was Kaipo that has the illusions, so the illusions will probably be a good pickup if they do decide to buy them. Seeing as how Octo can be just a hair rude, but we'll see. Smapty running into the Mad Ogre chest. We'll see what we get from here. That Rune Axe is going to make very, very quick work, as you can see. Almost 6,000 damage right there.
Yeah, that Kmain is putting in some work now.
It's a real shame. It's really a big shame that stop isn't multi-target. It'd be so nice if it was.
It would actually make it a much more useful spell.
Those coffins could actually come in handy in this fight as well, making quick work of these ogres, allow you to possibly get up to 3 life glitches off, depending on how it works, how all the magic ATB works. Man, Octo's making quick work of the party over on Flax's side. Shouldn't be too much of an issue with that. With the back row adamant armor on Palom.
Yeah, just 1 damage. No big deal.
Even if they even make it through.
And poor Smapdy's having a little bit of a problem here with these mad ogres. They are hitting fast and hard and cannot get his Palom back.
Oh yeah, very, very rude. Man, just burning through all those life potions. Tossing a silk web here, not a bad idea. Want to make sure you have at least somebody up to get experience besides your basically invulnerable Kmain. Flax making relatively quick work of Octo here. Hopefully Flax has some ethers here. Otherwise it's going to start slowing down relatively quick in this fight. So we at least maybe an elixir or a few ethers or something. Or a Lilith Rod. That's right. A Lilith Rod would help as well.
Yeah, just hit the dragon a little, or the octopus a little bit, it'll be fine.
Looks like Smapty's got everybody back up now, which is good. Gets all the experience on everybody. That will be super advantageous, especially for Rosa. And we see Quake on both Paloms. It's gonna give just a hair of an edge over Flax here in the fight. But Flax is still doing really well. Just looking for some sort of MP. Some sort of MP regain.
And we got an Artemis bow from that chest. That is a very nice pickup for our Rosa.
Oh, absolutely. Looks like everybody's kind of diverging into one solo funnel up through the hook here. This fight is just, unfortunately, a slog if you don't have damage output on your end, or you run out of MP on, say Flax's end here. It's gonna slow down very significantly. But it's still pretty doable, especially with adamant armor. Just adamant armor is such a fantastic thing to have early on. It just kind of allows you to carry throughout the rest of the game, basically.
And those elements just melted in front of Smapdy.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he is not taking the safety save. Feels confident he can take on this octopus right now.
Yeah, it definitely has a level advantage over Flax here, especially having Quake on both of the Paloms. It's going to be a lot of damage. We'll probably see maybe a Silk Web tossed out here if they still have one. Probably throwing a Berserk out there on a Kmain or something. The level advantage is definitely a thing that will make this fight a lot faster.
And that Berserk on that Kmain is going to do a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's certainly another spell as a kid I didn't realize the true usefulness.
Oh, big same. Berserk, man, Berserk in this game is just absolutely overpowered. As you can see, just the damage output from that Berserk Kmain is doubling anything that the other Kmain is putting out, and it's just so much faster than everything else. Unfortunately, I believe this is a relatively high magic defense spot, so the Succubus isn't going to do too much, so we only pulled one MP there on Flax's end. Looks like we have both Dathus and Leonhart fighting these Mad Ogres here. Should make relatively quick work with the Runax Kmain. I don't believe Berserk affects hit percent. I could be wrong, but I do not believe that it actually does. It looks like Smapey makes it through Octo. As you can see, having a level advantage there is pretty significant. Smapey made really short work of Octo there, while Flax is still getting through. Octo being down to one tentacle is much slower than Octo when he started. It's just that damage output of having more levels kind of helps Smapey pull ahead here, and we're about to see our first underground access here.
And it looks like Commander Leonhardt is having some of the same difficulties that... I'm sorry, was that... Does he have the Drain Spear equipped?
I think so. Yes. Yes, he does. It kind of counteracts the agility boost from Adamant Armor, so it's not too bad. I mean, it's obviously a very valuable thing to help keep your person alive.
Sorry, that just threw me off for a second. I don't know that I've seen that before.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't even notice it till you said anything, so. So, about 45 minutes entering the underground. What is your play, Allie?
Check your freebies.
Check your freebies. I like the play. Personally, I would probably go Dwarf Castle, since we are checking out bosses and we do have an Adamant Armor, and you know, we kind of blew through Octo relatively quick. We checking in for key items, personally, to me, it's a good check, but I feel right now we're kind of just boss, and I feel, you know, Dwarf Castle having 2 back-to-back, I feel it's a pretty solid play. But I mean, your play is fantastic as well, especially since, you know, like, say we find the Baron Key, that's what, 3 bosses right there that are blocked, or, you know, the Earth Crystal, that's 2 bosses.
Or even the Darkness Crystal, and the entire moon's open to you.
Exactly.
Now, Dwarf Castle does open up a little bit of a conundrum.
It's very true.
Warp glitch is enabled, but you are looking for bosses, so it may not be in your benefit to not dip sealed cave.
It's a very good point there. I actually hadn't thought about that until you brought it up. And it looks like we have Ashura in the first spot. We'll be relatively quick with the Rune Axe Cane. Should make really quick work. Looks like Flax got through Octo. Fantastic job.
GG's to him.
Gonna be headed down, checking out. We'll see what Flax's play is.
And to answer a question in chat by Lord Goober, we have completed 3 of our objectives. 3 of the fiends have been found.
Yes, we have found Mylon, Ruby, and Elements. So we're still looking for Val, Mylon Z, and Knazo. So it's pretty interesting so far. It's been pretty exciting. Everything's kind of funneled into one area. Everybody was at the same point at one spot, and then due to level differences here and there, we've had, you know, Smapey pull ahead of Flax. Flax is like right on Smapey's heels, and we see Pain Man.
Pain Man is gonna be a little bit of a jerk to the low-level folks, but for those Canes, this is not going to be a problem.
And this spot only having 3,000 HP should be relatively okay to pump through really quick. That one attack may throw things off. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember exactly how DKC's script works. If you hit him before his first attack, I don't know if it cancels out the justice will not be served part of the script, and it looks like it does. So Smapey's gonna have to sit through 2 more dark waves here. Uh-oh. Ouch. That wipe, though. That's going to give Flax a nice chance to catch up here.
And thank you to Randomania 2 for the raid. We greatly appreciate it and welcome everyone who has joined us.
Yes, welcome everybody. As you can see, Pain Man living up to his name, bringing the pain down. And looks like Dathus gets through Octo relatively quick as well. Again, having a fair bit more levels than Flax did, allowing a little bit more time catch up. Not so far behind as they were. Leonhardt's making seems to be pretty quick work, getting some blinks up just in case, doing some reflect strats. Knocks out the elements nice and easy.
And we see a self-summon for the Rydia that we threw away.
I mean, Sylph isn't too bad.
And a Blizzard Spear there for one of our Canes.
Ooh, a pan. It's a pretty spicy item there in Feymark.
Means you only have to dip the Self Cave once. Very nice pickup.
We see Dathus just getting underground access. Gonna be taking a peek, seeing which route they decide to go. See if they go free item. Looks like that's where they're headed. So yeah, I think the two major splits here are going to be either going Feymark right away, get that free item, which now we know is the pan, which is actually pretty solid play, a good pickup there. Or heading to Dark Knight Cecil here in the Dwarf Castle, which I'm pretty interested to see what the outcome here is. I'd like to see if Flax ends up using Warp or not.
And somebody in chat did point out he may not have Warp yet.
Palom may know Warp after this. I'm trying to think of what level Palom learns at, but I don't really remember. I'm just a hair bit rusty when it comes to a lot of this stuff. Looks like we have Bacchus wines and Feymark here. Oh, that's right. It's Rydia that learns it really early, like level 11 or something. I always confuse the two spell learnings between the two.
And only moon bosses in the bottom of the Feymarch.
That's good news, to a point. It means that, they may not be required.
And Twisted Flax getting the bad news that he does not know Warp.
I mean, in the long run, it could be very good news, because we could run into one of the elements at the evil wall spot, and that would be a good thing if we did not know Warp. Because I know if I was playing, and I would have been like, hey, I'm going to use Warp, and then I'm just going to completely forget about a sealed cave until the race is over. Oh, nice item. We've got a darkness crystal on Smapty side from turning the pan in. That opens up quite a lot of boss checks here. It's just a substantial amount of checks here, and a grind possibility as well.
Now, with the moon open to you, do you continue to stay on Earth or do you dive moon?
Me, I continue to stay on the Earth. I like to play to where, hey, I'm going to knock out all possibilities on Earth that I can, especially in like a boss hunt. I'm going to go, okay, well, I've still got this check, and this check. I can go take a quick peek and see, okay, well, this boss isn't here, so I can just kind of check things off, and then I head up to the moon. But again, my play style is definitely a lot different from a lot of these who are on stream. I don't think there's a wrong play in this situation. It's one of those ones where, okay, we're looking at a boss hunt. We still have to find 3 more, and they could be anywhere. You know, we could be looking for a Baron key that could be down at Ogopogo's spot to find, you know, Valvalis at Odin. You know, we could run into something like that. It just depends on, you know, what your personal play style is that you want to make a play on. Looks like we got an Earth Crystal from the first that may have been the Pan turn in. I didn't happen to catch the first item.
It was a cat claw and an Earth Crystal.
Ooh.
So
Earth Crystal's pretty good. And that gives us 2 more shots at a character, possibly a new character, and Earth Crystal's 2 more boss checks right there. So again, staying on Earth. Again, it comes down to personal preference. I would have stayed, knowing, you know, I have this Pan to turn in, I have all this other stuff I got to do, and then running across Earth Crystal, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to continue to go like, okay, I've got, you know, this handful of chests that I can now check, which Smapty is currently doing, and then I've got 2 bosses to go knock out with 2 more characters, and I think you see where I'm going with this.
That is definitely a play that's safer. You know, you don't want to leave something behind. And moon bosses are scary.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you. It's like we got some pretty dang good items in there. A life staff, a pro ring, and some pretty solid defensive things in there.
Some money armor.
A crystal ring, apparently, it seems. Man, got all the stuff in here. Dathis, it looks like
and Smapty doing some equipping of his party. And Commander Leonhardt just kind of plugging away on Octo Mammoth. Does still have that Drain Spear, so is keeping his cane topped off. And we'll see if Smapty is going to check that Earth Crystal. It looks like he is, and he'll head up to Zot.
Looks like Commander Leonhardt's making some nice progress on Octo here. And right as I say that, punches through, and we have our 4th runner all the way through the Upper Babel here, about to get underground access, and going to have a pretty open world here soon.
And Dathis finishing up with the first fight in Dwarf Castle. Gonna see that Pain Man and that additional cane. Oh, it was a Palom. Never mind. The additional Palom.
I mean, they're basically the same person. Oh, and we have another objective. We have Valvalis in the Magasister spot. French vanilla, by the way. Smapty happened to not heal beforehand, which could be a little spicy here. As long as we get a cure off beforehand.
I have done that many a time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've done that countless times. No, Smapty did not save, but the fact that they got the cure 2 off beforehand will be easy peasy here, and these quick virus casts will make super quick work of Val. Commander Leonhardt now getting the Falcon. Gonna be doing some flying around. Looks like Flax is headed back to the Baron Inn. Gonna go ahead and finish that up. Since Flax never ended up finishing that, just went right towards the hook.
And Smapedy taking down that Valvalis. And we'll see who is in the second spot here in the Tower of Zod.
All right. Let's see what this this key item is on Dathus's end. Ooh, just some crystal gloves. So that could be interesting. If there happens to be a one of the element bosses at Evil Wall, this could come back to bite Dathus in the butt. It all depends on what happens where.
And we see yet another Palom here in the Tower of Zod.
So there is only one more character that we don't know who it is. We have Rosa, Rydia, Palom, and Kmain. The fact that is 5 limited characters means that we only have one more character available somewhere.
But it is not here in this tower, because that
Indeed.
is another Palom.
And yes, Flax right on Smapedy's heels, making their way up the tower. Gonna make probably really short work of Valvalis.
And just a plague here at Valvalis' spot. Not a scary boss to see.
Yeah, this spot only having I want to say like, I think it's like 4,200 HP. It's going to be pretty short work, especially with Kmain throwing up 2,000 jumps like that. But Smapedy playing it on the safe side, killing off a Palom, going to bring him back. Hopefully get that count reset before people start dropping. But this fight should be over relatively soon. Twisted Flax, making sure they're healed before they enter the Val fight. Pretty good play. A little bit safer than what happened on Smapedy's end.
And Smapedy bringing it right down to the wire with Plague does make it through.
Find out what our key item from there is. If we see you say Baron Key, I'm curious as to see if Smapedy will continue on through Baron or take that Darkness Crystal and go up to the moon. But it ends up just being some Dragoon gloves and Flax through Val. That was a really quick fight. Fantastic job on Flax's end.
And as Conkers points out in chat, we do learn exit from this, so very helpful for our roast. And it looks.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And it looks like Smapedy is finished with the blue planet for right now and is going to head up to the moon.
Dathus turning in that rat tail for a tower key, which is pretty interesting. That's another 2 boss spots here. We'll see if that Dathus makes that play down there or not. I'd be interested, pretty interested to see if that happens. Smapedy ended up not getting the rat tail because they never finished Dwarf Castle because of Pain Man. So if this happens to be the last 2 bosses, this could be it for the seed for Dathus. Dathus would just need to get the Earth Crystal and find Val. And Dathus is going to be getting the Earth Crystal here. So
when all of our folks went down to through Lower Babel, did anybody see who the bosses were?
I don't think anybody peeked, actually. I'm trying to think back, and I don't think anybody swung over, but I may be wrong on that one. And we got our 5th and final character, Moonyang.
Now, at this point, would you be picking up a Yang, or would you just let him go?
I would just be letting him go. I mean, Smapty's already got, you know, almost level 30 on pretty much everybody, if I remember right. It's going to make... It would be kind of silly to take Yang at this point, especially if he plans on staying on the moon. Yang is pretty much useless until later, and like once you get him a fair amount of levels, then it's gonna be kind of hard to do on the moon, especially if you run into some gnarly bosses. It's like Flax gets through Plague here. Gonna be right on Smapy's heels. We'll see if Flax takes that tower key and turns it in. I'm pretty intrigued to see what happens. This could be a very good divergence. It could be a very bad divergence. It could end up breaking even in the end. It just depends on which bosses are where.
And our tracker, Asuka, points out that she thinks top of tower was required.
Like we got a moon boss in Cave Bahamut, so could be important, might not be. Just pretty situational. Ooh, Mylon Z is pretty big for top of tower, so if we see Flax or Dathus head up to the tower while Smapty misses on turning it in and get that tower key, could be a pretty big divergence here.
And it looks like Smapty is kind of trying to see if he wants to go ahead and take on some of these lunar bosses.
I would think so at this point. Smapty spent enough time up here that they're pretty committed to the play up here. I feel that if it were me in the situation, had I checked, you know, Cave Bahamut and gotten my character already and gone shopping, I'd be like, I'm just gonna stay up here. I'm gonna check these bosses really quick, see what I can get knocked out of the way. You know, Smapty's still missing the Baron key, the Tower key, the Luca key, the Rat Tail, the package, which could be blocking another boss, the Twin Harp. You know, you see all these key items that you're still missing. You're like, okay, I'm on the moon. I've done all this stuff. I may as well just stick with the moon instead of, you know, abandoning it.
And looks like he's going to check that pale dim spot.
Oh, very, very nice. It's a little rough here, especially being a little bit underleveled, but it's pretty good play on Smapy's end here, getting Knazo. So if Mylon Z is at the top of the tower, that means these are our last two bosses that we need to find. Knazo being in Pale Dim Spot, and that's a pretty big wipe there. Looks like we may be seeing a small grind somewhere.
And with this party, what are our grind options?
Having no sirens and this party being the way it is, both of our black mages not knowing weak until much later. With our current equipment, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'd probably say just almost random encounters on the moon. Maybe go get Rydia and try and bump her to get weak. Level 1 Rydia, try and like slingshot her. So she gets weak and maybe try and get something that way, or use that dragon whip. You could fish for freebies, yes, but once you start fishing, you kind of end up, you know, okay, well, I've got this boss here. Okay, I'm gonna go check this boss, and you kind of start going, okay, well, I've lost all this time checking bosses just looking for experience when I could have just been, you know, fighting random encounters or something like that. If they had an hourglass or something just to kind of get a little bit of a boost, that would be fantastic, but I'm not sure if they've actually found one. Flax taking a peek up the tower.
And it looks like Smapty may be going to try Dwarf Castle again, checking to make sure that Rydia has warp.
Yeah, that's probably a good play just to, you know, get that knocked out of the way, try and get Rydia, get with the warp, and yeah, this is it's a pretty tough call, really in anybody's situation. Trying to find a grind spot. Knazo impaled him is just absurdly rude. The best thing would probably have some Thor rages if any of them picked them up, and I want to say it was Cave Eblon that the Thor rages were in. It's always good to pick up at least a few just so you can get rid of that wave.
And maybe just cycle through, have all of your casters casting Lit 1, and hopefully takes care of that wave.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I have seen a couple of the runners, but looks like we got a Leviathan at the top, so we are still looking for a Mylon Z. So, I mean, Mylon Z could be really anywhere. No worries, Asuka. I mean, it's a purple robe. It's kind of hard to tell.
And I would like to do a shout out to the folks kind of doing the behind the scenes stuff. Asuka 424 as our tracker, and Leggy Starscream as our restreamer tonight.
Yes, huge shout outs, and a huge shout outs to Ali as co-commentator. I'm doing a fantastic job.
Well, thank you, Couch. You are doing great as well.
Well, thank you. Looks like Dark Elf is down at the Super Cannon. And then I'm feeling Dathis is working down up, trying to just be able to run all the way out instead of making a stop on the way down. But we know where Knazo is. The only one we don't know currently is Mylon Z. Mylon Z is the only one we're looking for. Be pretty interesting if it was behind a package.
That would be pretty rude. I'm sure chat can come up with the most evil chain that would get us that package.
Oh, probably.
And Dath is getting the news that there's just a not so nope noodle here at the top of the tower.
Oh yeah. And Commander Leonhardt making quick work of Val here. Going to be pushing through, getting that other objective done. Still 2 more to go. Pretty much everybody still has 2 more to go. Still gonna have to figure out a way to take down Knazo, and gotta find that Mylon Z. Smapty got that rat tail. Gonna go turn it in, get their tower key, and probably gonna go make a run up the tower. Just an assumption. But we'll see.
I would think so. He kind of noped out of the moon, knows he needs to get some additional levels to take on that Kignazo.
And going up the tower is definitely a fantastic way to do it. The top spot has a hefty amount of experience, and it looks like 2, 4, 6, 8. One more key item from Smapty will put them at 10. And when once you get those 10 key items, you get that sweet, sweet experience.
And looks like he's done with his Redia for now and picks his cane back up.
It's like both Dathus and Flax are going to be pretty much even coming down the tower here. Dathus may be having a small advantage, but Flax will be right on the tail. We'll be seeing that key item here pretty soon. I know I'm hoping for a twin harp. I'd like to see music. I really love seeing music in these races. It's always fun to hear the different tracks out there.
And it looks like Commander Leonhardt has taken down Plague here at the top of the tower. He'll get his, I believe it was some Dragoon armor or something, but does have another Fiend axe.
Oh, Dathus picking up a Baron key from the Super Cannon reward. That's 3 more boss checks right there. So if we find our Mylon Z here, we know the last boss that we need to find, well, not find, the last boss we need to beat is Knazo at Pale Dim, which is pretty rude, but
That is a miserable check.
Not bad defensive gear in the Baron shop. We got a strength ring, got some, I think it was a Dragoon helm. A little expensive. Darkness was behind Pan itself, so and Pan was at Feymark, so it was pretty much just a free darkness crystal. Didn't really need to go out of the way too much for it.
And Twisted Flax and Dathus kind of going the same route. Gonna check that Baron key.
Definitely don't blame them. 3 boss checks. I mean, when you still have 2 more bosses left to go, neither of them have been to the moon yet, so neither of them know where Knazo is. I mean, we could also run into Mylon Z up on the moon as well, but it would be pretty sweet if we ran into him down here. It'd be kind of interesting to see, hey, who's going to be able to take down Knazo first? Who's going to do the quickest grind? Or who's going to do the most efficient grind? Or who's going to do, who's going to be able to, time these Thor rages, right? It's always interesting to see who's going to take the brute force strategy against Knazo, or the overgrind to safety, or there's just so many different like options that you can do.
And just some dark elves, dark imps.
Same thing.
Wrong thing. Here in Baron, not really where you'd like to see them. That's the kind of fight you want to see in a harder location.
Yeah, like those at D Lunar would have been, fantastic for that experience we've been talking about. And there's our Mylon Z right there on the throne. That's it's a pretty good spot right there. So we now know where all the fiends are. Mylon Z being knocked out, Dathus being the first to know that, hey, I still need to find Knazo. Smapty knows where Knazo is, but does not quite know. Smapty, I'm assuming, will soon know where Knazo is, and we'll probably see an immediate grind after this. Dathus making very short work of Mylon Z in the spot. It is Probably one of the least threatening spots for Mylon Z. Very low physical, and that's about all Mylon Z does is just try and punch you.
And on Twisted Flax's screen, he just learned that Mylon Z is flying.
Oh man, I love learning that. I've made that mistake more than once, and you know, you'd think after one time you would learn it, but unsurprisingly not. Well, the good thing about Mylon Z being flying is he's weak to wind, so arrows and you know the wind spear. If you happen to still have one for Kmain, you know that adds to your damage output against Mylon Z. So we'll see what play Dathus makes here. We'll see if I'm gonna take a guess that they're gonna go check the summon spot just to make sure that you know that's not what needs to be done. And then we'll probably see a moon check. I'm not sure how Dathus usually routes, but we could see bottom up. We could see top to bottom. Top to bottom would be, you know, Dathus going, hey, okay, I found Nkey Etoggle, I need to grind. But if you go bottom up, then, you know, by the time you get up to the top, you're already done grinding because, you know, you've taken out all these bosses. And, you know, we get the magma key from Baron, you know, which is super useful.
Would have been nice for that a little sooner.
I know, right? Oh, so Dathus is going to take on Kmain here. Or Kmain, Yang. Having the adamant armor probably isn't going to make this fight tough at all. I just got to make sure you keep your people up to health. I don't see Dathus having too much of an issue. The experience here is going to be pretty solid. So I kind of like this play, especially if Dathus is planning on going up to the moon directly after this.
Now, best case scenario for chat would be a twin harp from this, and perhaps Dathus will go check that and we get our music.
I mean, that's always the best case scenario in my opinion. I'm getting some good rolls on Ashura here on Dathus's end, getting some nice healing to keep up with this pretty decent damage that Yang is putting out. You see Commander Leonhardt taking the dive down to the moon. We know that they have not found the Baron Key yet, so they do not know where Mylon Z is at. Let's see if they go top to bottom, and that's looks like what they're gonna do. So Leonhardt will be soon finding Nkey Etoggle and probably taking a quick reset. But yeah, all Leonhardt needs to do is find Mylon Z now, and then it'll be no mode for Leonhardt as well.
And Dathus taking down the Karate Man himself and gets a Stardust Rod, which is a great item, but not the twin harp we were hoping.
So yeah, that extra experience gotten from the Odin spot is going to be pretty helpful for Dathus going up to the moon. Nkey Etoggle is still going to be very rude. Probably going to need some levels or having the having at least some Thor rages. Some Thor rages will definitely be super helpful to try and get that wave cancel. If you get those wave cancels going just enough to where you get Nkey Etoggle's HP down, you know you're set. You can make it through the fight.
And it looks like Dathus is raising the lunar whale and going to head up to the moon.
All right. Well, let's we'll see which route Dathus takes. We'll see if they go Cave Bahamut or if they go right down into the subterranean, or
if they start at the bottom and work their way up, or start at the top and work their way down.
Exactly. It's like Commander Leonhardt's making their way down the subterranean. Probably going to make the save point before Plague and D-Lunar Spot. And take a peek, see if you can get some free experience there. Leonhardt does know that Knazo is at Pale Dim. Pale Dim is a pretty rude spot for Knazo, seeing as how you're looking at about 1,000 damage per wave, and those waves can start coming pretty quick once he gets going. Yeah, right now it's pretty much just grind and go. Got to try and knock out this final boss here. Oh wow, Smapty turning in the Legend Sword and Adamant and opening up that shop, finding both silver and gold apples. Gonna sell as much as they can. This may be Smapty's go-to here, buying as many apples as possible, or a few ribbons instead.
And Dathis actually heading into the giant. Perhaps wants to take a look at the two bosses there.
It's, could be going for a grind as well. Maybe a Mac Giant grind, maybe a Horseman grind. With this current setup, I don't think you're going to be able to do D machines unless you can somehow stop them. But I feel this will probably just be a grind, unless you check element spot, it's a free spot or something. It looks like we have the Baron guards seem to be making really short work of Leonhardt there. I didn't happen to see where that was. I'm going to assume that was a plague spot, just due to the damage that was being tossed out. Oh, Wyvern spot. Okay, that makes even more sense. That's definitely pretty rude right there.
And we see Yee Ha 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 there at the first spot at element.
That's even more rude. So yeah, it looks like Dathis is going to be looking for probably Mac Giant grind. I'm going to just make an assumption here. I don't believe Palom gets weak until like level 40 something. It's really high up there. Yeah, this is it's a really tough situation, especially with this team, to try and figure out where to grind at. You don't think I mean, I don't know much about I don't know much about the giant grinds in general, Blaze. I only know D machine grinds, so I'm not sure if Horseman would be I don't know where those are even at. So
it looks like he was just trying to take down his characters to take on Golbez, forgetting that he does get a full heal at that spot.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's a really bad spot for Golbez, just because that you get that nice free heal. But the Adamant does fortunately protect you if he does have a Star Veil. That would be great to see. Okay, thanks, Zilch. Smapty going to be seeing Mylon Z here soon. Going to be in no mode. I'm interested to see how Smapty's going to be doing the grind. I'm going to take an assumption that they'll probably go check D Lunar Spot just to see if it's a free boss. But Smapty, knowing where Knazo is, going to have to either prep, go find those Thor Rages, or just go get some apples or something to try and knock them out of the way. See, both Leonhardt and Flax checking Plague for a free amount of experience. It's a pretty good check there. It'll be an okay amount.
You'd really prefer them to be next door, but you'll take what you can get.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, Commander Leonhardt is not going to get 2 times experience due to not having 10 key items, whereas Twisted Flax will be getting a little bit more. Going to be a little bit more advantageous on their end. Looks like Dathis is making some pretty good work here of Golbez. Got some walls up. Going to be just kind of smacking away at Golbez here, hoping he doesn't take out too many people. Smapty makes it through Mylon Z. He's going to have to decide whether they want to try and take on Knazo now or go at it later.
And again, May knowing where that Knazo is and having all of those Palums just kind of hanging around, may go get a couple more Palums and just chain lit ones.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like we got a crystal from the plague spot. Both Flax and Leonhardt are neck and neck pretty much. They are pretty synced. Let's see what this D lunar spot is. Ooh, bonus round. I always forget how rough this spot is, especially for like a physical boss. It can be very, very rude.
And looks like Commander Leonhardt wanting nothing to do with that D-Mist right now.
Yeah, I definitely don't blame Commander Leonhardt. I would probably be noping out of that one as well. See Smapty, actually Dathus making it through Golbez. Gonna get only experience on one Kmain and one Rosa, which isn't bad. Dathus, I don't think Dathus has checked Knazo yet, right?
No,
man, there's just so much going
Giant.
on. There's just so much going on, I've already kind of forgot. But those extra levels will be very advantageous coming on once Dathus decides to make the descent into the subterranean. It looks like Leonhardt runs into officers and soldiers chilling at the Ogo spot, which not too bad. A little dangerous due to the relatively high physical, but some Quake will take care of these soldiers pretty quick. Another good strategy is to actually stop the officer. If you do that, the soldiers actually will only get to attack once they get their turn, which takes just a hair bit longer than normal. It looks like we get Wyvern at CPU, so Death is going to reset out of there. I'm going to revert back to a save outside of the giant. Oh. Ooh, interesting. So, Dath is trying to figure out which play to make, whether they should get out and continue on, which, you know, I like Dath's choice here to continue on that file that they had after beating Golbez with all that of experience. It's Whichburn, actually. So we unfortunately don't get to see. We have Smapty queuing up some lit spells to stop Knazo. We may see Smapty get through here. Looks like that top Palom is gonna get a spell off here, hopefully stopping Knazo. The battle speed lowered, judging by how fast things are moving, probably down to like 3 or 4 on Smapty's end.
And looks like he is using some Bacchus wines to kind of buffer.
A very nice turn order queue there, queuing up Ice 3 immediately after that Thor Rage. So when Knazo is not surrounded by water, he's actually weak to ice. If he surrounds himself with water, he is weak to lightning. Got that wave low enough. Looks like Smapty is going to be pretty successful in this fight. You just need to get Knazo low enough to not kill your party with a wave. Once you get to that point, it's smooth sailing from there pretty much. So we'll see the damage just kind of keep piling up here. We'll see the gathering water and probably another Thor Rage queued up here.
And looks like Dathus is checking Bahamut, sees that it is not a required fight, and nopes out of it.
It's definitely a good play to nope out of bosses, especially if you can see what they are at this point, when you only have one boss left to go. So looking back at the race log here, it looks like we have Zilch coming in first place with a time of 1:25:32. And we have Dark Kobold in second place with a time of 1:31:48. Fleury in third with a 1:32:16. BG Rich fourth with a 1:34:29. And Smapty just Dunning with a time of 1:35:30. So we'll keep watching here. We'll look for Twisted Flax to continue to gain some experience. Commander Leonhardt finding Knazo again. Hopefully going to be taking out here, but I'm assuming this wave is going to do a hefty amount of damage, unfortunately. Dathus taking the dive. We'll see if Dathus takes the lower end or the topper route. And let's see if we can get Smapty in here for an interview.
And Dathus is going to find that Knazo. We'll see how he handles this.
And looks like we are joined by Smapty. GG's.
Thank you very much.
General thoughts on the seed?
Not as trolly as some of the practices I've been running for this particular plot set. The perfluence of Palums was certainly pleasant.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm really glad it wasn't super obscure hunt for like the last boss or anything like some of these boss hunts can tend to be. So that was nice. I'm kind of glad I kind of got blocked in the moon and decided to abandon it, because if I would have committed to that and then not found that Mylan was in Baron, then that would have added a whole bunch of time if I tried to do all the moon at once. But so that I think that worked out.
Yeah, definitely.
How did you feel about finding Knazo?
I knew that was basically okay. This is the final boss, so I knew that yeah, because Knazo being the just a major pain in the no matter where he is, and having him in a lunar spot like that, it was like, okay, well, nothing I find at this point is going to be more harder than this. So let's back off for a bit. Let's get things together, get the rest of this, and then when I feel more confident later, we can come back to this. Of course, once it was down to just Knazo, I was kind of like, okay, I still don't feel powerful enough, but let's try it anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Knazo at Pale Dim is always just such a rude spot for him, just due to the sheer amount of HP there.
It's a little overcautious maybe by putting battles. I think I lost a position because of that. I think BG Rich got in front of me by like less than a minute or something like that. But rather doing that than just bashing my head against the wall and not being able to get through the wave. So I'll take it.
Absolutely. Looks like Dathus is now right about to finish. We've got hiding inside the shell. And speaking of hiding inside the shell, what was your least favorite part of the seed?
Least favorite part. It'd probably be when I went into Dwarf Castle and then realized halfway through that I didn't have warp because Palom learns it late and I already abandoned. So that felt pretty dumb. And doing the Dwarf Castle, the warp glitch did end up leading to anything anyway. So I guess it wasn't huge in the long run, but it still made me feel pretty stupid.
I mean, we all make mistakes like that.
And then the worst part was then I went and re-recruited Rydia to warp out, and Palom learns warp after the first boss. I'm like, well, this was a waste of time.
Alrighty, and with that, Dathus finishes up with a official time of 1:39:16 and GG's, and they will be joining us in here just a second. All right, GG's, Dathus.
Hey, thanks, guys.
General thoughts on the seed?
Very quick. I was really happy that Kane super got to shine. I don't know if anybody else looted, but the back of Watery Pass giving a defender and a dragon whip, pretty much there goes the early part of the seed.
Kidding me?
Absolutely destructive. Oh yeah, dude, defender, dragon whip. I'm like, hey, here's my early game.
Well done.
I was thinking, like, okay, Tpro, I remember, like, back of Watery Pass, maybe not a good spot to check. Depends. Super paid out. Back of Hobbs as well also had a strength ring. So all the really, like, out of the way checks that not a lot of people like to do, I always check it. It always pays off for me. Fairly linear. I was wondering if the Magma Key was on the overworld. I saw the hook. I'm like, not happy, but Baigen after Mom Bomb, maybe the rudest combination I've seen in a while. I was less than pleased seeing that. Golbez up at Element Spot. If you guys saw, I hope somebody commented that I tried to kill off my characters, and as soon as I did it, I'm like, wait, hold on, I get full healed. What's wrong with me?
Yeah, it was definitely brought up.
Yeah. The elements were really, really just spread out in decent locations, though. Always fade March. Got to check out who the hools are to find out where Wyvern is. Pro tip, at CPU spot if nobody else checked.
I was kind of hoping that you would actually wait and see what the whichburn was. I'm kind of let down that you didn't. But
I'll go double check that. I'm also going to go through the spoiler logs and find out where music is, so I give that if nobody has done that. But yeah, that's really about my thoughts. All my boys, 3 Rydias in Mysidia was kind of hilarious to see. The Pan into Darkness is coming up on my thing right there. I saw Pan, I'm like, yep, glad I didn't go to there just yet.
All right, I have a question.
Yes.
What was your favorite item that you found?
My favorite item that I found?
Correct.
Definitely the Defender Sword, because it was just like, ooh, here's a nice quick runaway with the seed. Yeah, basically Kane's best / second best weapon, depending on how you look at it.
Fair enough. To both of you, if you could run this again, what one thing would you change in your routing?
Fade the Giant. And go up to Moon a little sooner. That's about it.
Okay.
I would have probably routed Dwarf Castle in a little later, so I didn't have all that bumbling around with not having warp.
Yeah,
that was
fair.
probably the biggest time biggest like just flat out time loss I had was that Dwarf Castle. Not.
Yeah, I knew with Rydia, getting her a couple levels, there's your warp. No reason not to just like rush Dwarf Castle. I was still kind of panicking. I had it in the back of my head in case Luca Key was still required. It was like, I gotta keep my eye on that because that's still necessary. Once I saw the crystal ring, I'm like, still.
Yeah, totally fair. Looks like Twisted Flax gets through Knazo here with a closing Ice 3. And that will be a dot done here soon, if I remember right. Yeah, the final time for Twisted Flax, 7th place with a time of 1:43.51.
GG's to him.
Actually, I lied. My favorite item was the Bacchus wines because I just let people rip berserks.
That's fair. And I was going to say, I do like Commander Leonhardt's strat here. Having Berserk Kane with the Drain Spear on Knazo, it's definitely unique, and I love it. It's just unfortunate that it's not a ton of damage.
That's like some Cataseed strats right there. I'm all for that.
No,
Indeed.
I'm living for that right now. He may not be first, but he's first in my heart right now.
All right, we will be joined by Flax right now, by the way. GG's. Fantastic job. General thoughts on the seed?
Thank you. There were sure a lot of Torums and Fiends around. There's supposed to be 5 characters. I think I only saw 4 different ones.
Yep.
I only saw Yang at the end. That's right.
Yep.
Yes.
I was gonna say the 5th one was Yang on the moon there.
I'm just happy that I remember that I had the pigtail from earlier, and I can grab that adamant armor and throw that on Quack Kid just to get a little bit more extra strength to get through that hook route.
Yeah, definitely. The hook route was pretty interesting. We had an elements, which fairly rude spot for the party that we had going through there. Going into Octo, which if you didn't have enough levels, could have been a little bit slower. It just depends on how you went in there. How do you feel you did overall? How do you feel you played?
Okay, I suppose. I'm sure I'll look back on the VOD and realize I made a few mistakes here and there. Yeah, but overall, I think it's a decent time.
Yeah, I feel you played pretty well. I think you made some pretty good plays overall. All right.
I'll be very curious to see how people approach the moon. I always seem to go bottom up, but I swear it never works out for me. I should always go top down.
I just pick one here and there. It looks like Commander Leonhardt took a wipe there. Unfortunately, the Drain Spear has a really low accuracy, which can kind of hinder you, especially if you're not healing up after those waves.
Yeah, that opening wave was nothing to scoff at.
Flax, what was your least favorite item that you found in a chest?
Least favorite item? Gosh. I guess would have to be the silver sword that I ended up having to put on that one cane because I just found nothing better for either cane to use. I think I might have found a blizzard somewhere, but it was very lacking in melee power, this seed.
I had the opposite problem. I had 2 poison axes. As I told Snape and the rest of them, there's Defender Sword in back of Watery Pass.
I just did the front of Watery Pass. I didn't look in the back.
Yeah, I like to ask these random questions because I like to I like to see what you're looking back on when you go like, okay, well, I could have, played this routing differently, or I could have done this, or I could have, I could have used this item a little bit differently, or anything. That's why I kind of like asking these kind of what seem like oddball questions.
I was questioning fighting Demist on the moon was a smart move or not, because it was basically gating 3 key items, and I still had a number of boss checks behind key items. So even though it took a while, I felt like I needed to do it, even though it turns out I didn't need to do it at all.
Well, do y'all have any closing thoughts on the seed?
Just it was a lot of fun. I think these boss hunt seeds can be really interesting, so it's really fun to do it. But yeah, thanks so much everybody in the Restream team, to you guys doing the commentary, and the we had Lady Starscream doing the Restream and Asuka doing the tracking. Thanks to you two as well, and really appreciate putting us on tonight.
Thanks for racing. It was a joy watching y'all play, seeing how differently y'all route, and it's always interesting to see who makes what play where and when. It's kind of what makes these races enjoyable.
Absolutely. Thank you all for your donating your time here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, again, thanks to the Restream team. Good job, like even I think this is your first time restreaming. Well done overall to everybody, though. Excited to go back and see the VOD and see how everyone was going.
Well, thank y'all so much, and again, GG's, well done.
Yes, one more
Thank
round
you.
of GGs.
Thank you, and GG to all everyone here.
Take care, everyone.
All right, so it looks like Commander Leonhardt is still trying to plug through Knazo here. This is one of those tough fights if you're trying to time out Thor rages. You, especially with battle speed up really high still, you need to get that Thor rage timed like almost perfectly. So if you're gonna go for like Thor rage strats, it's usually best to lower your battle speed, down at least 2 to 3 ticks or so, or even more, just so you can get that proper timing, so you can cancel out that wave. Because that initial wave, unless you can pump out, a bunch of damage, is going to be really, really rough on you.
And it looks like he does take a reset.
So at this point, I think maybe we'll see Commander Leonhardt head down and maybe go grind on or check out some bosses, or maybe we'll see the battle speed drop down, or turn encounters on. That's obviously always a good choice. Gaining some levels to get some more HP is, I mean, it's foolproof for Knazo. More HP, more survivability. You get through it pretty quick. And back to that Drain Spear. The unfortunate thing about the Drain Spear is just like, I think the accuracy is like 20 to 30% on it. It is super inaccurate. That's why, you were seeing damage rolls for like 100 to like 400 or up to 600, somewhere around that range. Just the accuracy is really low, and you do get a reduction in stats as well. I believe it's -10 strength and agility. It may be across the board as well, but I think it's just strength and agility. It has been a while since I've looked at the stats for that. But this is a pretty good strategy. Just looking for these easy encounters on the first floor. Gonna get some levels, get some HP, so you can just tank through that first wave and hope you can continue on.
And it looks like Dathis is taking down D-Mist. That must be where the Twin Harp is.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to see this music. I'm always excited to see the music. There's some really, really good songs that like fit perfectly with the harp style in this game.
And as you can see, this is why D-Mist up here in the moon, especially in this spot, is so awful. It just takes so long.
Agreed.
And Commander Leonhardt getting a little bit of a spicy hug from that carry. It went ahead and petrified his Palom.
I mean, at least you get healed when you get hugged, right? So I don't think Leonhardt's going to need too much more experience here. Maybe a few more fights to get everybody at the 4-digit range. Should make things relatively quick. We'll probably see an exit outside, use of a cabin, or using the lunar whale resting pot or whatever it is after the grind is done, just to make sure they're at full HP and MP before they go into the fight. Unfortunately, these warlocks know weak, and as y'all know, weak could be very annoying, getting you to low HP and having to cure yourself after every fight.
But a quake and a jump looks like it takes them down pretty easily.
Gotta make sure everybody stays alive here. Pretty important, especially for the lower HP people, such as a Palom and Palom, to get some more experience to get that HP count up. Looks like we have another finisher. Aegis finishes in 10th place with a time of 156.49. GG's.
And that poor top Palom cannot seem to stay alive.
Sometimes the game just knows. Like, sometimes it's just like, hey, I'm going to kill this person over and over, and you're not going to be able to keep them alive.
And I just learned that those encounters can drop moon veils. Very interesting.
Yeah, there's a Moonveil drop is might not be too bad for the Knazo fight. It'll protect against a rude sucker punch in one of Knazo's off turns. But other than that, I don't see it being super useful right now. It may help with that top Porum in this grind though, so that it can stay alive.
And it looks like Dathis has gotten through that demist and is going to go pick up his twin heart.
Music, almost music time.
Now, do you have a favorite track you like to hear, Couch?
There's just like I was saying, there's like so many different good ones. I can't really like pick a favorite, but I really like hearing athletic theme from Super Mario World. I think it just like fits perfectly for how the music gets played in this. We have another finisher, Gundam Pilot Spaz in the 11th place with a time of 158.50. GG's. It's like we got Commander Leonhardt making that save. Probably going to go take another stab at Knazo here. Just cheer them on. Hope they can get through. They got this. Got some extra levels, which will be super helpful. Make these Canes have a little bit more HP so they don't get one shot immediately after the wave from a punch. Maybe allow them to get off the ground for a jump to dodge the wave even. A 12th place finisher now, Infinius with a time of 1:59.58. GG's. All right, here we go. Another stab here. And then we'll be hearing music here in just a second as well. It's almost perfect timing. Looks like got 3 people this time that survives a wave on Commander Leonhardt's side, which is really good and gets that Cure 3 off before Rosa takes a punch. May not be looking so hot here though with another wave being queued up, but we do get that Thor Rage, so we may see a cancel out here. It's some pretty good timing. Oh, dang. That's the tough thing about having it on battle speed 1. Just that the timing needs to be like queued up way before the wave even comes up, and then you just got to make sure that you get. The timing is pretty much everything in this fight, unfortunately. Turning down battle speed will help with the wave canceling. So let's see if they make that play. That would be pretty awesome to see a battle speed adjustment. Battle speed could make a lot of difference in a whole bunch of fights. You just gotta know when to use it to your advantage.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to kind of manipulate the agility or manipulate the ATB and agility on Wyvern is a big one that people turn their battle speed down.
Yeah, definitely. Really anything where you're taking like a whole bunch of damage and you want to try and minimize that amount of damage by, you know, getting more turns in to get a wall off or to get a cure in after you take that large amount of damage from, say, like Ogopogo or something. Battle speed it's one of those things that's really not thought about too much, I feel anyways. But it is very advantageous if used in the right situations. So yeah, unfortunately, Knazo is just super fast here. And it's just going to be kind of hard to keep up with this wave damage pace. Hopefully they either go grind a little bit more or figure out the battle speed. Maybe even just get the timing a little bit different. And a lot of this is just trial and error when you're, especially, a boss like Knazo where you're trying to feel out, hey, I have to do this at this time to try and get it done at the right spot. And it can just be a little tough sometimes. Then you kind of get flustered and you just, things can kind of snowball.
And you kind of will sometimes get blinders on in a fight where you have to beat it and you're just going to keep hitting your head against it, but you just keep hoping that maybe this time the luck will work out in your favor.
Absolutely. And I mean, they're doing a fantastic job with this. They're figuring it out as they're going. They're watching their timing. They're queuing up Thor rages, and they're trial and error, learning it, and they're doing a fantastic job. It's one of these things where it can be really tough sometimes. You can hit a wall sometimes, and it just kind of holds you back.
Looks like he did get the correct timing that on that one, so hopefully can get enough damage in with his palums to kind of mitigate the damage from this next one.
And I believe Palom had that lit one cured up before the water came up, so I don't think we'll see a wave on this one either. Oh, unfortunately we do, but as you can see, they're making great progress on getting the timing, which is fantastic to see. We do have a 13th place finisher, Xenocat, with a time of 2:06.00. GG. Yeah, and as Mechalink points out, like character options in the seed, them being very squishy, not having a high HP pool is definitely pretty rough. And Q jamming is definitely another big thing that you can do, as well as battle speed to try and mitigate the damage output from bosses. Looks like we did see the wave skip there, so we did get it cut out. We did get the Thor Rage. So as you can see, like the timing is getting better. Like it's one of these things where if you've never fought Knazo in a certain place before with this strategy, it can be daunting. And I think Commander Leonhard is doing a fantastic job at kind of learning it on the fly as it seems. Making great progress with these Thor Rages timing. It's looking fantastic right now. Just got to keep up with Knazo. Unfortunately, he does keep if he does get a wave off, he does cast fast on himself, making himself a hair bit quicker, which can throw your timing off even more. But it looks like the timing is down. This is looking pretty great. And the more damage that Leonhardt gets on Knazo, the lower that wave damage will be, meaning it'll be more survivable every single time. So hopefully we'll see a Thor Rage continue on. It may have been just a hair late there. We'll find out. But as long as the damage keeps getting pumped out against Knazo, the lower the damage output of the wave will be, and the more survivable this whole fight will be. As you can see, the damage was a hair bit lower there. It was still pretty high, since this is a relatively high HP spot. It is fantastic to see the timing going, though. Yeah, the damage output is unfortunately pretty low. But as long as we can stay on top of no waves, I think Commander Leonhardt can get through this. Unfortunately, takes a rough hit there on Rosa, who could have queued up a Thor Rage, but unfortunately is gonna die and not get that off. So we are seeing an unfortunate turn of events here. But yeah, the jump timing was pretty solid there as well. Oh, big roll as well. So that'll help lower the damage just a hair more. The Thor Rage queued up just in time. I hope so anyways.
Looks like he did get it off in time, but another wave coming out.
Yeah, well, once your party members start going down and you don't have this queue going, it just gives Knazo more and more turns, and it just keeps him going, and he just gets faster and faster. Yeah, Deathus. I mean, I've been in this situation before where you're like, okay, I can see myself doing it here and here and here, and it's just you kind of get stuck. Like, okay, I got to get through this. I got to get through this. I got to get through this, and you just kind of block everything else out. But yeah, this is. I mean, Commander Leonhardt's doing a fantastic job either way. It's great to see, them sticking it out instead of just just giving up. I like to see this from runners. It shows me that they're learning, they're grasping it. It's fantastic, and that's how people improve.
And it looks like gets that Thor Rage out. We'll see if it was queued up soon enough.
Ooh, unfortunately not. Yeah, if it, like, again, with the battle speed is just the battle speed is probably the biggest thing here. BS1 makes it really tough to get the timing on.
And unfortunately was not able to recover after his Rosa went down.
All right, so it looks like we are going to we're going to go send you all to Commander Leonhardt to finish cheering them on, finish up his run. I think they've done a fantastic job. It's great seeing them learn and just try and continue to knock this out. It's been fantastic to watch. I do want to thank you all for watching. Thank you to the restreamer Leggy. Thank you to my co-commentator Ali. Thank you Asuka for tracking. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, everyone.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to commentate with you.
And yes, as Mecha Link points out, please no spoilers to Commander Leonhardt, as they still do not know where Mylon Z is or the other key items. So just go cheer on Commander Leonhardt, give them some love. Yeah, thank you all so much.
Everyone have a wonderful night. Be safe.